Gaza. Gaza.
Hello, everybody. I have Mr. Furley here. I had a few requests to have him back. Mr. Furley, say hi. So, if you're tuning in for the first time or haven't seen him yet, he just turned 10 months. He is deaf. And like his mama, he is mostly blind. So, we're quite the pair. But yeah, he's my little baby boy we adopted. So, he has a bit of a fan club. So, I wanted to bring him on. Now you could go sleep. Um, so a few announcements tonight before I bring in my guest. I'm so fucking excited because my brother-in-law's film, The Brutalist, last night won 3 awards at the Golden Globes. He's the cinematographer, and they won, let's see, best director, best lead actor, and best film. So, yay! I'm so proud of him. He's amazing. His name is Lowell Crowley. So if The Brutalist is coming to you, please watch it. I am so excited. So I'm so proud of him. So yay. The other announcement is I am going to see Temujin Kensu. I'm flying out to Michigan 1 week from Wednesday. As you know, those of you who follow me may know he's been wrongly incarcerated for almost 4 decades. He's been in prison for 38 years, even though he was proven innocent decades ago. So I am being after a lot of fighting with the prison and what have you, I am getting the rare privilege to go into the prison and interview him next Wednesday for 4 hours. So it's going to be pretty amazing. And he's become a friend over the past almost 5 years that I've been interviewing him from prison over the phone. So yeah, I'm excited. And we're actually having a huge get together afterwards. There are true crime podcasters flying in from all over. Like I'm coming from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. There's Virginia, Arizona, Atlanta. Like people are literally flying in from all over just so we can have a dinner to support him after I, am done interviewing him. So it's going to be amazing. On that note, also, I've been doing this shit for 8 fucking years. I reached out to 14 of my journalist comrades who I have done shows with, done work with, met in person, done rallies, protests, whatever with, and one got back to me about covering Temujin, and that's Katie Halper. So thank you so much, Katie. I will be going on her show next week. Thank you, Katie. Yeah, so I know it's not like sexy to talk about a dude who's like dying of cancer in prison and, not being given any treatment. But yeah, thank you, Katie, for responding. It's certainly more than I can say for the others I reached out to. So on that note, I do want to bring in my guest tonight, James Lee. Thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Joy. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. I actually reached out to James because I really love your videos. I've seen you kind of blow up. Like when I first started following you, you didn't have like as many followers, and now you're just kind of going up, up, up. And I'm like, good, because you're actually talented. So that's always good to see that. Um
Thank you. I don't know
I
about blowing up, but it's
well, I
certainly
mean, you've got like
yeah.
75,000. I mean, that's pretty rad. That's pretty rad. You're doing all right. For those who don't know you, where can people find you?
They can find me on pretty much all the major social media platforms, on X, on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. All the same handle, which is at 5149 James Lee, Lee spelled with an I. They're all, depends on what you like. I mean, probably X is where I'm the most active in terms of posting videos and posting my just thoughts of the day and commentary. And then short form video on Instagram and TikTok. And then on YouTube is where I post some of the longer deep dive, more documentary style features that I'm producing.
And it also says that you work with Breaking Points as well.
Yes, I'm also a what you call a contributor or correspondent for Breaking Point. So I'm on there maybe two or three times a month, just producing segments for them. So whatever usually it's interview based. So if I'm interested in exploring a particular topic, finding a subject matter expert, and then just kind of picking their brain. And those segments are usually on Sundays on Breaking Points.
Awesome. So I did pick a video I wanted to do first, just so if people aren't familiar with you, they could kind of get your vibe as to, your style and the kind of things you cover. So we can play that first.
So on December 7th, Trump weighed in and publicly stated that the U.S. should stay out of the Middle East. Specifically, he's talking about Syria, which the vast majority of Americans agree with, by the way. And not even a month later, a lone attacker rampages through New Orleans, unalives a bunch of people, and the FBI says that his actions were 100% inspired by the Islamic State. They also invite a reporter dressed like she's on her way to yoga. You should look up who she is, by the way, an entire rabbit hole there. But yeah, the FBI just invites her into the attacker's ransacked home, which I assume is an active crime scene. She finds a Quran, many Qurans supposedly, and some workstation supposedly making bombs, and also, of course, a kafaya. That's all pretty convenient, almost too convenient.
The deep state can completely remove any of your options to be able to move by presenting you with ones which you don't even want, and then making it politically completely infeasible to travel down the extreme directions. That's why when Trump says things like, I want to get out of Syria, that doesn't compute up here for the Pentagon. Because first of all, if I even asked you how many troops we have in Syria, and you could go on the DoD website, it'll tell you a number. That number's bullshit, because the way that they do it is if you're only there for 179 days, you don't count as active. Military contracts, the real numbers, let's say 5 times. And so Trump would be like, hey, I want to get out of Syria. Like, yeah, we'll do it. 6 months, right? We need 6 months. And after 6 months ago, so are we out of Syria yet? And they're like, no, well, we got to wrap this up. We got this base, we got that, and we have this important mission. And, next thing you know, you're out of office and it's over.
Oh, would you look at that? January 4th, The Hill calls for Trump to reassess his Middle East strategy. People always ask me, what is the deep state? Well, I think this is a tangible example of the deep state at work.
The deep state. We're just getting right into it. I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it. Like, expand.
No. Yes, I guess we're just diving. Yeah, I was making that comment as in jest. Just that we're diving right into all the conspiracy kind of stuff. Obviously, this isn't what the U.S. government is telling us, right, about these attacks. And I'm sure your viewers hopefully have heard a little bit about the two sort of incidents that happened on January 1st. One, which is in New Orleans, where the dude plowed into a bunch of people. Killed about 15 people. Very tragic situation. Another one of the Tesla Cybertruck blowing up in Las Vegas in front of Trump Tower, all with very weird and very odd backstories about how it happened and some of the details that are coming out. they don't seem to all line up correctly. So it's giving us a lot of fodder to kind of dive into. But in terms of the overall story, right? That's, if we were to just listen to the mainstream news, the legacy media, and what they're telling us, this would point us to basically escalation of tensions in the Middle East, with Iran, Syria, and on behalf of Israel. This would be a very good thing for that to happen. And then on the other side, there is some kind of online stuff that's going on. I haven't seen Legacy report on this, but I don't know if you saw the leak on this Tesla Cybertruck where they're talking about drones, they're talking about maybe China. This is a warning, this and that. So then, just by circumstance, there's also an escalation with the Chinese, which is our other big enemy, other than the Iran and Russia on that side. So it's just very convenient how everything works out, and a lot of the details when you look into these things, it just seems very, very odd, right? Some of the, for example, the New Orleans one, I'm not sure, how people, the familiarity people have with the FBI, but they certainly don't, give reporters access one day after the attack and say, well, this is the guy's home. We're going to walk through it. Look at, there's a bomb kit over here. There's
But is she even a reporter? I never
well,
freaking heard of her. Nobody heard of her.
well, if I did dig into her a little bit, and she seems very much what you would call a plant. You could say that she's a
Yeah.
plant from the Zionist media apparatus.
Definitely.
She seems to do a lot of stories on behalf of Israel. Seems to be called in to these special assignments, and so you could, some people would throw out that she's an intelligence agent. I don't know that for a fact, but very, very peculiar person to have and give this scoop to versus some other reporters that may be already in New Orleans, right? Local reporters, or if you want to give that access, right? Wouldn't that make more sense than this person? And then you go in, it seems very, very staged with, multiple Qurans that are open. And I've had people send me messages to say, hey, if you're a devout, Muslim, like they say he is, the Quran apparently should not be left open to read, or after you're reading it. It should be closed. It's a very disrespectful thing to leave it open, from what I've been told. I'm not sure, but that's what I've been told. And so that doesn't look right. Yeah. And there's just different paraphernalia that are related to the, let's say the Palestinian liberation. There's also bomb kits that are perfectly placed, and it just seems very odd.
Well organized,
Yes, well organized, at the same time also ransacked. So
yes.
I don't think the FBI should typically allows people in. And for example, we still haven't seen, the house of the Trump shooter, right? They didn't allow a reporter to go into his home and see what's going on in there. Probably because what you would find in there probably doesn't give the American public any kind of direction or major narrative to go down. Whereas this one, the way they stage it, certainly does. So, so yeah, just a lot of weird stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. And as far as the Tesla truck, the one weird thing that even the MSM is reporting on the clips I've seen, they're saying he shot himself and then blew up the car. I'm not understanding this. So have you been seeing those clips too?
I have been seeing the clips, and I have looked at video. Somebody posted a slow-mo video of the explosion, and it's not entirely clear what, there's no evidence that he shot himself right there. There's nobody heard any gunshots. There's nothing to indicate that to be the fact. And one thing that people have been throwing out there is that technically there is a remote capability to drive the Cybertruck around if you're able to there's technology is there. It's not given to civilians. Like, you can't do that as a base feature, but there are certainly ways to to do that if you know how. And I'm sure people can do that if they, if they're staging this kind of situation. That's certainly a possibility. I wouldn't write that off. As far as that, the whole thing about both of these incidents is that most of us, at least people who are, some people say they know exactly. The people who say they know exactly what happened is probably wrong. But what I think is more accurate is we don't really know what went down, but we know for sure it isn't what we're being told. There's a lot of things that are wrong.
Absolutely. And what's your take? I mean, it's kind of conjecture, but what's your take when the dude drives into the crowd in Nola and a cop covers up his flag? Do you think that was just maybe to, stop any kind of violence that may have happened, or like why do you think he would have done that?
Yeah, I don't know. That I haven't really thought about too much, the motivations of the officer. But what I have seen with the flag too is that some people have been pointing out that the flag was hung improperly.
Yeah.
Um and it's not clear even whether or not the guy was truly, an ISIS sympathizer. There's just a lot going on there. So I'm not sure if the cop at the moment, I'm not sure, if there is a grand conspiracy like we're kind of suggesting here. I'm not sure if that particular officer on site was in on it, right? He was maybe just trying to do his job. I don't really know. So that I can't answer to. I just know that there's a lot there. People have been bringing up, just to bring up more weird things like why that area wasn't that secure, because it's a New Year's Eve celebration. There's usually, it's a pedestrian zone, so there's usually bollards that go up. Why didn't they have those things going? So those would what I would expect at the higher level folks who would be, if there was a conspiracy, would be in on it, would be folks like that to know, okay, why aren't those things being set up? How is this allowed to even happen in the first place?
Right. And I think, a few of the weird things about the Tesla one is, well, first of all, Elon Musk is hated now more than ever before. And it's a big fuck you if one of his products is like shit. But also, Trump's being inaugurated again. It's in front of his hotel. That's kind of sus. I mean, it's kind of coincidental. It's weird. Um, doesn't that seem kind of too on the nose?
Yeah, everything there seems very on the nose in terms of the almost like the reaction of the military, kind of feeding off of what we more independent people think, and just taking that and saying, okay, we're going to do like a psyop, but we're going to try to psyop it in your way, where, there's the Tesla Cybertruck element to it. There's the anti-Trump, right? So this could be seen as an attack on Trump. There's also that other element of a leak about drones and UFOs and this kind of thing going on. And so things that really appeal to the conspiracy minded person, right? They were like, oh, yeah, this makes total sense. But when you think about it, it seems like the psyop is just adapting to the times. But they're still not so good at it as far as people being able to, there's a lot of people who, have wisened up and said, this doesn't sound right at all. There's
Yeah.
something definitely bizarre about this whole thing. It doesn't seem like it makes sense. So I think there's a little bit more ways to go in terms of if you want to do a psyop, let's do a good one. I don't think they're
Yeah.
they're there yet.
And on New Year's Eve to stoke fear on everyone, like, fuck, Armageddon is coming. Oh my fucking God. This year's gonna suck. But also,
Yeah, and I
I mean,
played the clip from Sagar and Jetty in that video that you showed earlier, just because I thought he made a really important point in that, we have a new president coming in, President Trump. He's talked a lot publicly about de-escalation. He's talked about ending wars and these types of things. And we do know the military and and the Pentagon being able to limit the options of presidents, right? Now all of a sudden we have a terrorist attack, we have connections to the Middle East, we maybe have connections to China. All of these things sort of try to limit the options that the president can take. They can't just say we're gonna move out of there if there is an active threat going on. It leads
Right.
to also domestically too, this kind of domestic terrorism type of label that you can now implement for people who are maybe just pointing out things about the government, maybe voicing dissent could now be considered
Yeah.
terrorist type of behavior. So it's really like a culmination of multiple things going on that's kind of alarming in terms of if you just look at overall civil liberty moving in
Right.
the wrong direction.
Absolutely. What do you think about both of the gentlemen involved are veterans? I mean, granted, there's a hell of a lot of veterans, but I don't know. Do
Yeah,
you see any stock in that?
that's it. That is interesting in terms of them both being veterans. I'm not sure exactly if it's to do with, you know, being able to is it convenient because the veterans they're able to I would reckon they're exploitable, they've been conditioned to be able to do these things. I don't know if that's how if they are truly involved in that, is that what's going on, or is it just completely coincidental that they happen to be veterans, but they also happen to be both. I mean, this people are pointing these things just like kind of coincidence out of line where they're coming from. Was it Fort Bragg? It's called Fort
Right.
Liberty now, but I believe a lot of ties going on there. So I don't know if there's some kind of MK Ultra situation, like some people are saying is
Yeah.
happening. That certainly could be a possibility in terms of connecting the dots on the why they're both in the military. Could be coincidental. We just don't know. But as it is, like I feel like there's just a lot of questions, very few answers, and whatever answer they're giving us sounds like it's completely bullshit.
Yeah. Right when I heard about that happening in Nola, I literally looked at my husband and I said, they're going to fucking blame this on Palestine. I guarantee it. Like, I knew nothing. And then I saw the fucking kafia and I'm like, you seriously, you guys, like, seriously, I knew that shit was going to happen. It's so frustrating. Matt, do you want to play? I put a few clips in. And for those commenting, I do apologize. I'm 85% blind, so I'm not able to read the comments. But Matt's gonna come in a little later and he can read some of them. If you want him to read your comment or if you have a question or something, please put it in all caps so it'll stand out to him.
Both the New Orleans attacker and the guy who blew up the Tesla truck in front of the Trump Tower on the same day share some very concerning similarities. For one, both of them are US military veterans and also served at the same US Army base. Both of them also rented cars from the same company, Turo, on the same day to carry out their horrific but similar attacks. And members of the Houston Muslim community, which this guy was apparently a part of, have also come out and said, like this post, that they've never seen this guy, and he was also arrested in 2020 for a DUI, which no Muslim will ever get caught doing. And these attacks are also very similar to the Christmas market attack that also happened in Germany, which ISIS also claimed responsibility for. But the German attacker did not have the same impact as users found his online social media, and it turned out he was anti-Muslim and pro-Israel. And in my view, all of these attacks are false flag attacks, but the question is why? Well, for one, the United States must continue to justify its illegal presence in the Middle East, and Trump and Israel are also gearing up for the biggest war in the Middle East, where the US and Israel jointly will take out the Ayatollah and Iran and put a US puppet instead.
What do you think?
I mean, makes a lot of sense. There is a need right now, I think, for them to generate public support. You call this manufacturing consent for this kind of support, because I think more and more people are kind of waking up to what's happened in the Middle East, not even just
Mhm.
recently, but for the last, many decades. Obviously,
Yeah.
you see that from the left or the more progressive Democrat side, but you also see this coming from the more conservative right. There are
Yeah.
also people there from a slightly different angle, but still saying, hey, this is not what is good for America, right? I think more on the left side, or on the left progressive side, there's a lot more talk about more of the humanitarian or
Yes.
human rights angle, and then on the right, you see more of the America first type of thing. You see more rhetoric around how the country has been co-opted by a foreign government, that type of language. But I think it's good that there is some intersection to say, hey, this probably
Right.
isn't good for either. This isn't good for human rights. This also
Right.
isn't good for the sovereignty of the US if we have all of these, we have all these, I guess, commitments that don't do us any good.
Right.
And I saw a post this morning. Glenn Greenwald, he posted, it was a photo of like George Latimer and some APAC guy. But it in essence, the comment is like, well, great. Now we have essentially just these, you have our members of Congress being beholden to some foreign entity that they just can't cross. And it's almost like a handler type of situation. And
Yeah.
Thomas Massey's talked about this as well publicly and saying, hey, we do have kind of these handlers for this specific cause. So so I think it makes basically every single person in the US very uncomfortable to see whether on both sides of the aisle. So what do they have to do? They have to generate these things that could potentially unite the country. And one of the ways to do it, obviously, would be to make people fear for their safety, right? If everybody feels afraid, then they're able to implement things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Absolutely. And I think, the Democrats, excuse my language, they're having a big old fucking circle jerk, because now this shit's starting to happen when their, boogeyman is coming into office. So this is, if the Dems were won again and they were taking over, it would be a different story. But the idea of these violent things happening, people will conflate this with Trump, even though he's not in office. And it'll just, remember when Trump it was a few days before. So it's definitely going to get conflated, even if it's later on in his term. You spoke a little bit about him and his comments about, pulling out of Syria and things like that. Do you have hope that that is really something he would consider?
I think, the thing about Trump is he says a lot of different things. He
Yeah.
has says we're going to pull out. He also says we're going to do things very strongly and be very powerful. And he has obviously very strong allegiance to Israel, given the campaign finance, the donations from Miriam Adelson. So in terms of what I think for Trump, it really depends on what he wants to be known for in terms of his legacy, whether it's more to appease the donors and just to kind of curry favor with them and do what he's always done, which is, be an elite powerful figure, or is it that he wants to be remembered for doing, for being a man of the people, which he also loves as well. He loves adoration and those kinds of things. So he's kind of caught between the two here. I do think there is, even if he wanted to, let's say, pull out, I think this happened in Afghanistan as well. I think he also wanted to pull out of Afghanistan, and the Pentagon gave him all kinds of issues or excuses of why they couldn't pull out, or why would it take longer and longer and longer.
Right.
I think similar things probably will happen here to
Agree.
limit his ability to take action. That's kind of the unfortunate thing. I do have some hope as far as being able to resolve some of these issues, right? Because I don't know if this will be necessarily good, but if we were to just conjecture about what would happen to, let's say, the Israel-Palestine issue, maybe Trump will come in and be like, hey, you guys got to cut this out. You guys have 2 weeks, wrap it up, and then, just annex it. All right, I don't care. Because I think that's what Trump has done in the past, right? He's given, he moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. I think he gave them some parts of the West Bank or Golan Heights, or I'm probably mixing up some of the details there, but he allowed Israel to take more territory from what was once, under the Palestinian Authority. So I could see more of that happen. I could see just take it, let's get it done with, so that the public, we can just say there's peace, even though that's not necessarily what maybe the folks on the ground there are looking for. that's, realistically speaking, I think that could happen.
Yeah, that's definitely valid. I think, you know, Trump is so impressionable that I hope someone just walks up to him and says, "There's no way you would end this genocide. You're never going to end it." And then he'd be like, "Oh, I won't. Watch me." Because that's just how he is, that ego. I was also thinking about, Biden's going to do away with TikTok because he wants to be hated even more, for his legacy. Do you think Trump's gonna reinstate it?
Well, so based on what I understand about this issue, which I've looked at pretty closely, I don't think he has the ability to reinstate it. What they can do, there's a couple paths. Obviously, it's going through the Supreme Court right now, and so they're going to make a pretty quick decision on it. The only way to really undo that decision, whatever they go with, and it's hard to say. I'm not a constitutional scholar, so it's hard for me to predict what they're going to talk. I did speak to one of the policy experts at the Knight Institute of Columbia University, First Amendment policy experts. And they did say they do expect the Supreme Court to be more favorable in terms of valuing the First Amendment rights of of American citizens, but this is kind of an unprecedented case. We've never had this
Yeah.
magnitude of a platform be banned, right? The other sort of case precedents in the
Mhm.
past had been newspapers or magazines or these kinds of things, and it's never been as widespread as 330 million Americans, or sorry, 180 million Americans using a particular platform. So it's never been that wide of circulation. So it's hard to say what they're going to do. But let's say they do ban it. The only way for Trump to really undo it, I believe, is to urge Congress to pass another law that would undo it. There's probably some other ways. The other extra or outside the law way to do it would be for him to convince the people at ByteDance to sell it. That would be the other
That's
thing to
exactly
do.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he could apply pressure in that way. I know Trump is friends with one of them, the stakeholders, Jeffrey Yaz, who I think owns maybe 15 or 20% of TikTok. So that could be a route where he says, "Hey, let's try to sell." He might go, and what he might do is, "Hey, if the court rules that it needs to be banned, he might urge for a stay on that ruling or to extend that for a period of time to say, hey, we're going to work out a deal here. Let's sell it." That could happen because I do think from conversations that I've had with people who are TikTokers, they're also close with Trump and they're kind of in on that crowd, is that there is a sort of loyalty there for Trump to say, hey, TikTok was a big part of my success in winning the election, so I want to make sure that these people don't be pissed at me. And so
Yeah.
he's going to probably try to do some things, although I do think some of the things that he's talking about is somewhat limited. So we'll have to see. I mean, we're going to find out pretty quickly, actually, in the next week and a half, what's going to happen to TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the number one thing on TikTok is Palestine. So he better get his shit straight if he's bringing back TikTok, because, yeah, that's not going to go well for him
Well,
if he.
I think if you do bring back, I do think that if TikTok is allowed to stay in the US, there's going to be pretty heavy censorship. There already is very heavy censorship on that app
Yeah.
that I've experienced pretty significantly. So I wouldn't expect the same proliferation of videos about what's going on in Gaza and those things like that. I think there will be more policing in terms of that
Yeah.
particular topic, as with
Sure.
any other platform. You're seeing it happen on X as well. I mean,
Mhm.
it's already been on Meta, but you're seeing it happen on the supposed free speech platform. So I
Yeah.
would expect that to go over to TikTok as on a permanent basis. As I mean, people have reported on this, right? There's more and more people within TikTok that's from the intelligence community. That was very much a playbook from the Meta Facebook, right? They've
Yeah.
employed a lot of people that are former intelligence to kind of play nice. Same thing is happening with TikTok. So I wouldn't expect the content to be allowed to proliferate in the same way as in those early days back last year. But we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, the problem with the trying to suppress information is that once it's out of the bag, it's really difficult, right? Because then you have people who are
Yeah.
maybe not great creators. They're just, there's if people say stuff, it's really hard to them to not to say stuff. So the only way to around that would be to kind of create and unite people around another common enemy. So let's
Yeah.
say, ginning up hatred of Muslims, Islamophobia. That's a path that looks like they're taking. Anti-Chinese. That's also a good path. Anti-Russian. To kind of divert attention away from that issue. I think that's probably what they're gonna do.
That's a really good point. I just noticed it's 8:40. Do you have to leave or
Yeah, I can go another 5 minutes
okay.
for sure if you have. Yeah.
Matt, do you want to play the next clip?
Broward judge peered through a virtual reality headset.
These people are coming into his space, right?
And he's backing up
And he's backing
so
up.
as not to be injured like his wife.
For an immersive experience an artist designed to illustrate this defense expert's opinion.
As we back up and are being approached, and it's like a chest to chest encounter, no matter where you look.
That based on his review of depositions, a site visit, and sworn witness statements to police.
Now, this is where the vase was broken from the chair that had been thrown previous.
And
When?
This is actually a photograph from one of the videos, right?
Yes, that's correct. And there's the names.
And the purpose of putting in this photograph is to show what connection to this animation.
That's correct.
Miguel Abisu, the Southwest Ranch's wedding venue owner, facing 9 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for waving a gun at guests last year.
This is when he pulls the gun out, when he's backed up against the bar.
Did so in self-defense, he testified.
Standing right in his personal space, he still has not brought out his gun.
That is correct.
Placing the judge and the defendant's shoes.
Physical size difference, the age difference, and then he's grabbed.
Viewing the incident through Albisu's point of view.
That's scary. I'm fucking sorry. That's scary. What do you think?
I haven't seen that clip before, so that's some sort of new. I guess they're able to introduce I guess that's just a recreation of the scene of the crime.
Yeah, but
telling it
it's
from
like
that.
I think it's just because like it's not like they've done stuff like that like on a screen, but the fact that it's VR and it's like, okay, cool, the judge is seeing, but does that mean the jury is gonna have them too? And like, are they going to be able to like decipher what's real? And like, I don't know, it's just fucking weird.
Well, yeah, I would say that is probably the least of the AI worries as of right now, as far as how technology goes.
That's fair.
A lot of development happening, in terms of, I think in 5 years we'll have some kind of sentient robot. You already see the delivery guys, but you'll see more and more of this coming in. And I think the biggest, impact right away that you're going to see is on jobs. So what do we do in 5 years? Let's say nobody works at McDonald's anymore. Where do those people go? And then let's say insurance or accounting, all these jobs that are very much kind of more automated or automatable. What happens to that class of people who once had that job? Do we have the funnel to do something else with them as a society? That's what I would say is the biggest concern.
Absolutely.
Is how fast this is moving, because I think we've had these kinds of industrial revolutions, like first one, second one, third one, but I'm not sure if it's ever moved at this kind of pace where people are, going to be needing to find new careers and things like that very, very quickly. So that's something that I don't even know if the government if anybody's really ready to grapple with that.
I don't know. Yeah, that's definitely terrifying. What's your background in?
My background is in business. I graduated from NYU with a MBA, and I worked in management consulting for 4.5 years for big, Fortune 500 companies, specifically in big pharma, most of my clients. So that's where I came out of. And that was kind of my awakening process as far as transitioning to the work that I do now, is seeing some of the stuff that happened during COVID and some of the behind the scenes things that went down. And I just saw just the amount of corruption, and I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. And that's when I started just making videos online and, kind of dipping my toes in this kind of work. So I'm still learning as I go. I tell people all the time, I don't really know anything. I'm just kind of learning, and I am basically making public what I'm learning. That's the only difference. A lot of people learn, they read books, they watch videos, and they kind of internalize it. What I'm basically doing is I'm learning every day, and then I am trying to then inform the audience. So a lot of times, people think I'm some kind of expert on this and that. Really not. I'm just trying to communicate information that I know, and learning, in public basically, and trying to ultimately, I think my goal that drives the work that I do is trying to hold really powerful people or powerful institutions accountable for their words and their mission, their actions, and providing more transparency to the public.
Absolutely. And you always have receipts in your videos. I do not watch anyone without tangibles. That's so important. Well, thank you so much for joining me. You're welcome back anytime. Once again, give people where they can watch you and hit you up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joy, for having me on. And like I said, I'm on every platform: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X, at 51495149 James Lee with an I. Same platform. Come check it out. See if it's something for you. If not, that's okay too. But love to chat with people. And I'm always happy. I talk to people in the comments all the time. So just if you agree, disagree, let me know. Love to have that conversation.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. Really appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, I am going to bring Matt in now. He's going to join. He's been behind the scenes helping with the videos and such. James is great, don't you think?
Yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah, he was. I kind of knew he would be. You know how I am. I get a feel.
Yeah, you have the best guests, I gotta say.
I do. I'm very lucky. What does that say?
Holly says, thank you, good guest.
Oh,
And
awesome.
she also says, UBS, Universal Basic Services, is what we need for these jobs that are going to poof away here pretty soon.
You read my mind. That's exactly what I was thinking. Absolutely. Yeah. And then with UBS, people can actually make a living doing art, doing, like, say, what I'm doing right now. That would be a source of income. Like, other countries do it. That's what it would kind of have to be. People would have to find talents in other ways. I mean, when, I'm 45, and when I was going through college and everything, it was very much like, if you know computers, you are fucking good, man. You will have a job for the rest of your fucking life, man. You are good. Go into tech. It is booming. It will never go away. In a way, that's true, but you will go away. We didn't realize just how quick, like James said, this shit's coming up quick. Like, it's coming fast.
It is. I'm trying to keep a pulse on it, but it seems like every day there's some new AI feature coming out. And it sucks to be a knowledge worker. Like what I'm trying to be. Like all the jobs I'm trying to get are just evaporating in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even, I worked in healthcare for over a decade before my blindness. And there were times when I would be working for, a healthcare company, and all of a sudden they'd be like, guess what? You have 2 weeks because your job is going automated. We no longer need you to type up these prescriptions, type up these, whatever it was. And I'm like, And you get like no warning. Like you don't even fucking know they're updating these systems because it goes from, the headquarters. You don't fucking know. It's not like they're standing at your desk. So they're just like, surprise, you're going to have no job. Your position has now become obsolete. And yeah, it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the younger generations. Like it's gonna, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
used to be
hard.
good. I used to be good at giving like career advice to young tech kids, but these days it's kind of hard to point anyone in any direction because who knows what it's going
Yeah.
to look like in 4 years.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a lot of innovation that's needed. Like I think social media platforms getting into creating things like that, that's probably gonna be like a really good route to go. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think we have like one more video on this topic, I think.
Let's see. Introducing the all-new 2025 DePLOrean.
Introducing the 2025 Cybertruck, a futuristic engineering feat brought to you by Tesla. 11,000 pounds of stainless steel that can get from 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds, as long as there's not 6 inches of snow on the ground. Tackle anything life throws at you, like 3 bags of dirt for your lawn. And exclusive to Cybertruck, pointed laughter from everyone who sees you. That's right. For only $140,000, you could own the truck that's been recalled 6 separate times. The Tesla Cybertruck. Do all the things you can do in your Toyota Corolla, but for 5 times the price.
That's bananas. Oh my god. Crazy.
There's a snow mode. They need to turn on the snow mode. It turns on 4-wheel drive. I think it's a driver error. I'm all for hating the Cybertruck. I don't like the Cybertruck, but that's driver error. I'm pretty sure. If not, that's really embarrassing.
Matt, you're a party pooper.
I know.
You're one of those people where it's like, you're like on Facebook or something and it's like, like Elf on a Shelf or like stuff like that. And people like answer in the comments like, that's like whore on a board or something. And I'm like, no, I was trying to figure it out.
Well, I drive a Tesla. My wife has a Tesla.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really nice. So
is it?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
it's okay.
I can't drive because of my blindness. Nobody wants me to drive.
Well, that's why you need a self-driving car.
No, hell no. They have self-driving Ubers and shit. Dude, if I ever get an Uber and one of those shows up, I am not getting in it.
You don't trust it?
Nope.
Okay.
What do we have next?
I don't blame you. Let me see. CIA agent explains how the government baits and tricks mentally unwell people.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
How?
Just like nothing. You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. We call it a nudge.
A nudge.
A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little, just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there, or you have someone fake profile say something that triggers, that we know is going to trigger them, right? Like we already know your history. If we're to that point, we already know everything about it. So we're like, oh, this will piss them off. Sometimes you light the fuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting on a fake social media thing to like really get people mad. Post fake news. Sometimes it's not fake. It's embellished a little bit. You can kind of put.
This guy is straight up evil.
Yep. He's like, how much hubris? Like, he doesn't even say, are you taping this? Like, he's just like, we call it a nudge. This guy who filmed this put his life at risk. Like, seriously. Oh my God. But we all know stuff like this, but it's interesting to see it actually on camera and, have receipts for that. But what a piece of shit.
Yeah, what a shitty dude. And I think I've seen like an 8-minute version of this video where he just talks and talks and talks.
It's just fucking hubris. He doesn't even try to be like, well, he's like, listen, here's what we call it. Here's what we do. Pull up a chair. I got this. Like, ew.
Yeah.
Fucking gross.
It is gross.
You have to be smarmy if you do a job like that. You have to. What do we have up next? Let me see here.
Something about January 6th, which is the big deal. Oh yes, happy January 6th, by the way.
Congress will officially certify the results of the November election. Vice President Kamala Harris will carry out her constitutional duty, confirming Donald Trump's victory. It was on this day 4 years ago, we all remember, that Trump delivered a very angry speech denying his 2020 defeat, which was then followed by a deadly assault on the Capitol. Scott McFarland has the story.
4 years to the day after a riotous mob of Trump supporters marauded through the Capitol, trying to stop the electoral certification of President Joe Biden, lawmakers will gather again today at a complex surrounded by 8-foot metal fencing to certify Donald Trump's victory.
I hope that some of them might feel a ping from it if they see me.
Washington, D.C. police officer Daniel Hodges, who was beaten in a doorway during the riot, has been invited to attend today by Democratic Senator Adam Schiff.
It's to be my honor to make it as uncomfortable as possible for the GOP members who try to whitewash that day and lie about what happened and pretend that we didn't save them.
Nearly 1,600 people have been charged for their roles in the January 6th attack, some wielding weapons like bear spray, knives, and flagpoles. Of those, at least 1,000 have pleaded guilty, and 600 were charged with assaulting or resisting police officers.
They should immediately be released, immediately, the J6 hostages.
Trump has pledged pardons for the rioters, but he's yet to specify if it'll be all or just some. And a CBS News analysis finds nearly 160 of those charged had a prior, and in some cases, violent criminal history. There are also concerns of what precedent the pardons may set.
Well, I think what it will do is encourage any future president to tell his people, hey, you do whatever you need to do to keep me in power because I've got a pardon power.
For Hodges, who has testified in some of the criminal trials of January 6 defendants, the potential pardons feel personal.
It would be very offensive to me. I think it'd be offensive to everyone who risked their lives, who fought and sacrificed their blood and sweat that day to preserve democracy.
Many people are still being sought for their roles in the Capitol attack, but Trump hasn't specified if prosecutions will be permitted to continue starting in 2 weeks. Tony, many defendants have asked their cases be delayed until Trump takes office.
You can understand why. Scott, thank you very much.
So isn't it crazy though? It's like they still talk about January 6th every day. Like, I know today is January 6th and they're going to talk about it.
They do. They talk about it every day.
Every day.
That's how
and
you
the
know
thing
it's
is,
propaganda.
like, let's be clear. Trump didn't tell them to do this.
No.
Like, be mad at me all you want. The fact is, these people are grown people. They took it upon themselves. No, he did not tell them to stop. He should have. He should have, when it started getting crazy, he should have known damn right well he's the one that's going to get blamed for it. But he did not tell them, go do this. If they're sheep and they want to do it, that's on them. But it's, yeah.
That's basically it. I think a bunch of people got tricked into attending a deep state false flag event. I don't know. January 6th always puts me in this shitty mood. Because I feel like the deep state planned this solely to upset this Yellow Vest movement's Inauguration Day protest. We had 200 people coming on Inauguration Day. And and then we come like 2 weeks before January 6th happens, and then forever. This means election integrity is a Donald Trump issue. If you care about it, you're a Trumper. That's how I know that Bernie actually won the election, and this is all about election integrity and making it like a partisan Republican
Yep.
Trump thing. I fucking hate it, man. I hate it more than anything, probably.
I know. It's so, oh my God, it's so ridiculous. And here's the thing. I don't know if you know what Force the Vote is, but I
Yeah.
was a part of that. I was the disabled speaker at the town hall and the protest. So we were literally about 2 blocks from the Capitol steps just 3 days before this happened.
Oh, really?
And
Cool.
police were way more on us than they were on them. I'm telling you that right now. So
Yeah. Yep. You should have seen Inauguration Day right after January 6th. There were Marines and cops everywhere. Got the 8-foot fences everywhere. It was crazy, dystopian.
well, and they have shit like that. They have like FBI, CIA, all this shit there today. And I'm like, you're not making any sense. Trump won. Why do you think there's going to be an insurrection today? I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be prepared. They had everything on lockdown and shit. Like, and then of course Kamala's being like, yes, queen, because she actually did what she's required to do and didn't have an insurrection. And let's be, all right, I'm not going to go there, but right-wing people are more passionate than Dems. I'll just say that. But
That is true. But now that Trump has won, the Republicans don't care about election integrity anymore. They think they can stop the steal and vote so hard that they can override any rigging that Democrats are doing. I don't think that's real at all. I don't think that's a thing.
No. And you look back to like still even to this day, it's like, well, Kamala has a history of being in law, and you watch on November 17th, she's going to do something and she's going to win. You watch, she's going to put Trump in jail for something. And then it was November 24th. You watch. She gave us an Easter egg when she gave this speech today. Listen to what she says. Listen to the tone of her voice when she says that. And there were like 4 different dates that she was going to change everything because of her being in law in the past. And she had a plan. She still has a plan. And look at all the Dems who still are saying he cheated this time. They're still saying it. Well, do you have to bring up your tweets from 4 years ago? Anyone who would ever deny it, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, fucking nuts. This shit is nuts.
On the same topic, this is a tweet from President Biden. We should commit to remembering January 6th, 2021 every year. It was a day when our democracy was put to the test and prevailed. And it reminds us that democracy, even in America, is never guaranteed.
This is hard. Nothing easy. For the survivors, it's hard, and for those who lost something, it's even harder. You're proud of getting this award and the deserving award, but it brings back everything that we heard in the news 5 years ago. You're giving the country courage. They're looking at you in the middle of the fiasco that's going on, and saying, well, there's hope. There's hope. There's enormous hope. If we can come together, we really can. We don't have to be, this bitter division that exists. We the people, and you are the people. You're the backbone. God love you. I really mean it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is hard.
I hear someone crying.
Yeah, I heard that too. It's a pretty good production they have here. I mean, good lighting. You can almost hear him talking. It's kind of quiet, but
I feel incredibly inspired. And you're right.
Yeah.
Never forget. Never forget.
Never forget what they did.
Never.
How dare they
Because
question the integrity of our elections? How dare they?
our democracy almost died that day.
Almost.
It was fine until that moment. Everyone believed in democracy until January 6, 2021. It all went to shit. Oh my God. I was such a firm believer in democracy. Even in 2015. Oh my God. 2016 especially. Oh my God.
Comment from Colin. Remember the fascist cops letting Trump gang in? Remember the
Yep.
cops? Remember the cops who quote unquote died after the riot?
Yep.
Remember the joy of watching Zionist war criminals in Congress cower? Yeah. That was
Yep.
cool.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck who gets mad about this. When I saw that picture of that guy with his feet up on Pelosi's desk, I almost pissed my pants. I was laughing so fucking hard because he was smiling so big. And then when I found out someone was wiping feces all over the wall, I laughed at that shit too. Sure did.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm sorry, that's punk rock as fuck. Like,
Yep.
oh my God. What do we have next? I think I have one more on January's. Oh no. Oh, this wonderful day today.
Yes.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States as delivered to the President of the Senate is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes. Kamala D. Harris.
They're clapping for her?
I can't tell.
Weird.
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
No, they were clapping for Trump. Okay. All right.
The state of the vote for the
That happened.
Dude, I cannot even handle how hilarious it is that she is the person that has to give the presidency to her opponent.
It is.
I cannot fucking handle that. That is so fucking hilarious. And actually, I learned today that that's the 4th time that happened in our country's history where the person who ran against them had to give the presidency to their opponent. Like, oh my God, that had to suck so bad.
Yeah.
You did it to yourself.
Comment from Colin says, how many votes for President Musk?
For real. Seriously.
Also, fascist cop Mala ushers in fascist Trump, just like Genocide Joe did.
Yep, exactly.
100%.
I think I have 1 or 2 more.
Well, I have like 8 more tabs open, but let's look at Nancy. Let's watch Nancy, who just secured her 20th House term, enters the House chamber using a walker.
Without objection, the tellers will dispense with reading formal portions of the certificates after without.
There she is.
So, you know what? I don't give a fuck. I do not feel bad for her because guess what? You know when that happened? She was shaming Palestinian protesters. And then she went to step down off the stage and she fucking fell and fractured her hip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fucking. I commented. I went live the day it happened, it was like, I showed the clip of her going after, and she's like, let us bow our heads for the hostages, which these people never seem to talk about. And was just so fucking snide and disgusting. And then, oops, she fell. Poetic justice, bitch.
Oops.
Wow. And you know, my dad just turned 84 on Friday. Happy birthday, Dad. And she's a fucking mess. She is a mess. She needs to go to bed because thankfully he is in a hell of a lot better shape than she is. I said, Dad, what do you think about Pelosi? And he goes, she's a jackass. I was like, that's right, Dad. Yeah, she is. And I said, what do you think of Hillary Clinton? And he said, she's a crook. I said, damn right, Dad.
I love your dad.
I know. He's so funny. Oh my God. What else do I have?
Up next, Kamala to Bernie Sanders has some things to say. Let's see.
Stand right there. That is not your nature to just stand where you're told to stand. Give it a try. Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear?
Could you make out what she said?
I can try. I turned the volume all the way up, but it's kind of low. Stand right there. Even though it's not your nature to stand where people tell you to stand, I'm sure you can do it. And raise your right hand.
What a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
What was that comment for? Like, he already licked your boots. He already abandoned us to campaign for you. And what's the problem? Like, really? Was that necessary? What the fuck was that even for?
She hates him because I think he actually got more votes. I think there's something going on here, but
Oh, yeah. I mean, and
we'll
Bernie,
never know.
Like, that's why we all tell you they don't like you. They fucking hate you. Literally hate you.
I think he must know that.
He has to know. He has to. He's a smart man. He knows they hate him. He knows. So, like, but talking of poetic justice, let's play the next clip.
Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. You know I'm the face of the city, bitch. That's why you mad.
Let's watch that again.
For your work. Thank you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. You know I'm the face of the city, bitch. That's why you mad.
I have no idea who that is. I asked people on Twitter and no one knows who that is, but that's fucking hilarious.
Unburdened.
Unburdened by what has been.
Mm-hmm. Hey, here's another clip of Pelosi.
See, for women, women are known to be more, shall we say, ethical than men. And so when they go after women candidates, they go after their ethics. See.
What?
What?
Do what? Bird bath and privileged scrub? What?
It's more of this man versus woman division crap.
I know. Just look, she didn't lose because she's a woman. She lost because she's a genocidal cop. Okay? God.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
From Hotspot. Never forget how Trump made the Democrats feel.
Into inciting an insurrection, which he did.
They said he participated in an erection, and I have to insurrection. Sorry.
If they believe Donald John Trump incited the erection.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection, and maybe that too.
Who has been impeached for inciting the erection, inciting the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. We understand that the former
insurrection, and I have to say, I got up at 5 this morning to do Casey Hunt's show, and I'm exhausted. So,
yeah, you can talk about that too, I guess.
Maybe we should talk about that too. The president incited an insurrection. Maybe we should talk about the fact that the president...
Into incite...
I can't.
I've never seen that.
The fact that she's like, maybe we should talk about that. What? That's not the right way to respond.
That's creepy.
At all.
No, I don't like that.
I'd be like, sorry about that.
All right, we have some breaking news. Justin Trudeau is to resign as early as today. What the heck?
Got some breaking news north of the border. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau moments ago says he will resign today. Says he will stay on until a replacement is picked. CBC is reporting that he's set to hold a news conference next hour. Trudeau is facing mounting pressure from within his own Liberal Party to step down. He trails behind opposition Conservatives in Canada. His job approval is in free fall. You got affordable housing shortages. You got persistent inflation. You got worsening economic outlook. You got all that up against him. For Canadian citizens. So we'll get that to you next hour. We got some break.
So can you guys even fathom a leader resigning because they are not liked by the people? What the actual fuck is that like?
I hope that's really the reason.
Well, cool. I've looked into it, and I think part of it's ego because he knows he was going to lose the next election. So he was like, I'm going to go out on my own terms, that kind of thing. Could be. I'm sure there is more to it. Unfortunately, shag meat only has 2%. So I just see some other stooge winning.
Yeah.
I still think it's like, remember when we covered it like 2 weeks ago or so, when Trump was in an interview with Trudeau and said, Trudeau's like, I can't survive if you put like 60% tariffs on my country. And he goes, then we'll take your country and make you part of the United States.
Yeah, he's going to buy Canada.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why he's like, I think he's just having a nervous breakdown.
I think that'd be kind of neat. I think we should buy everything, buy the whole world.
We kind of have. So
yeah.
Let's do it. Except Israel. We don't want them.
Speaking of, here we have from the Palestine News Network, NYPD arrests a driver for chanting Free Palestine.
Shame!
Wow, they're putting him on a fucking bus. They're taking him on the bus. They're forcing people off the bus. Forcing people off the bus. Were you just on the bus?
Wait for it, folks.
Oh, this is awesome. NYPD.
Yes!
Basin! Yes!
Oh my God, I can't. That's just amazing. And he gave a thumbs up, which just makes it more hilarious. I love it. I love it.
Cool. Why a bus, though? Do you know? That's weird.
I don't fucking know. I think they wanted to fill it with other people. That's what I can think of.
I see.
I love that they had that written on the window. Amazing.
Hell yeah. Here we have from Hotspot. Imagine being so entitled to war crimes you think it's a good idea to post them online. So from the Financial Times, it says, Israel warns troops off of social media after Brazil seeks soldier over Gaza. Decision by federal court hailed as, quote, groundbreaking by a pro-Palestinian group that raised allegations over war crimes.
Yeah, so this guy who was in Brazil, he went to Brazil on vacation. Somehow they had like a manhunt for him. Somehow he escaped. They don't know how. They think that he must not have used his passport or he must have used a fake passport, but he did escape. So he's no longer in Brazil. There are war crimes on camera, but how many war crimes do we have on camera? Like a bajillion. And you take all the times they've literally pissed on people after they kill them. You take, them burning photos that they find in the house and laughing about them. You take them putting on, women's clothes and making fun of them. You take them destroying children's toys and laughing about it. I mean, the list goes on. And now they suddenly want you to take down your videos. Are you fucking kidding me? But here's the thing. Nothing has happened to these fucking psychopaths who do this shit. Absolutely nothing. Like, we have them on camera laughing, saying, I've already killed 70 babies, ha ha ha, and stuff like that. And nothing happens to them.
Yeah. Is this basically just Israel saying, hey guys, cut it out, no more of this shit? And they're not going to go after any of the people doing the shit. It's just them trying to save face and be like, hey, cut it out, guys.
Yep. I would be okay if they had those stupid girls stop doing dance videos. God, they're so annoying. Like IDF girls who definitely are not IDF. They just dress like them and they like dance horribly on purpose to make it look funny. It's so bad. They make them like every fucking day. It's so annoying. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So here's a tweet. Quote, anyone wearing a uniform is an accomplice in the murder of tens of thousands. End quote. Anti-genocide activists from radical bloc TLV gathered this morning during rush hour in front of the IDF headquarters in Tel Aviv to call soldiers to refuse serving the genocide machine and show them photos of the atrocious results of their actions in Gaza. hell yeah.
So I don't think I could be that close to them. I really don't. I think I would just like shake with fury. I don't know how they're doing it, but
Yeah.
It's so funny how pissed they are. Like, yeah, I'm the one that's allowed to be pissed, even though I'm like the terrorist. But
Mhm.
I think I forgot what I was gonna say, and it was
Well,
good too.
I really like their chant. They have good rhythm. I like it.
hmm
Quote, "You have murdered entire families. When will you take your beret off?"
Yeah.
And no, it's not nice to hear that you are murderers.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I just thought of what I was gonna say. The fact that this is happening in Tel Aviv, you have to wonder, is this Israeli people? Because it's probably not Palestinian ones because they can't get in there.
Right.
So, and we do know for a fact that over 1 million Israelis have been protesting in Tel Aviv for months. So most of the time we're just presumptuous. Most of the people in Tel Aviv, they do, they have signs like, they want Netanyahu out. They want an end to this. They want a ceasefire. That we know. Now, not all of them support Palestine. They just want an end to this. But I'm of the belief, if you want an end to this, we want an end to this. Then we'll deal with other shit. But
yeah,
the fact that I feel like these might be Israelis, just because it is in Tel Aviv. I don't know. I mean, I hope it is. I figure out of everyone there, there's got to be at least a few people, right? Hopefully.
I really doubt that they would let Palestinians this close
Oh,
to the
no
IDF,
way.
right?
No way. They wouldn't even be able to cross to get in there.
This guy looks Jewish. Yep, I think they are. I think they are Israelis, but just a guess.
That'd be pretty cool. It'd be, I don't understand how you could not be ashamed of your state. Even if you're a proud Jew, even if you're proud of your of being Israeli, even if you're proud of, whatever, how can you possibly be proud of what they are doing? I don't understand. I'll never understand. But I think that goes with the next
since birth.
clip.
I think that I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
It's crazy. I think the next clip is kind of answers my question. Yeah.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Woo, wow. You hear that? It is, I think, 1 p.m. We are going to be leaving Ashkelon now because I just don't feel safe here. But I do want to give you one piece of good news. That day and night, every few minutes, sometimes seconds, I can hear our IDF, our incredible army, the living daylights out of Hamas.
What the fuck?
And it has given me so much strength. You can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear now. I hope that they are showing Hamas just this much of the wrath of God, showing them that if you touch a single hair on any Jew's head, we will come and we will till we obliterate you from the face of the earth. Hamas is such pure evil. Anyways, here in Ashkelon, we can hear everything. I'm going to Jerusalem now, God willing. We're going to leave because I just cannot take the constant bomb. And like the sirens are pretty much nonstop. I mean, like there's breaks in between. Anyways, that's my update. Hashem, please be with our soldiers. I'm so grateful to every single one of our troops for going to the most dangerous parts in Israel right now and fighting for us. And I can hear Hamas being pulverized.
What the fuck?
So, first of all, she sounds American.
She does. Yep. She sounds just
I
like
don't
a
hear
Christian.
any kind of accent at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously she's there for free,
Yeah.
And you gotta love how she keeps saying it's Hamas that's being done to. Like, you know, damn right well, no, it's not. She feels unsafe, so she's leaving.
Well,
They
it's
don't
nice that
even
she
have
has that
food.
option. Yeah.
They have no freaking water. They have no food, and you're feeling unsafe. They're gonna do something. The only reason they would do something is because you're literally massacring their families. Fucking insanity.
I really like how it has the two video streams superimposed together like this.
Absolutely.
All right. We have one more and then a funny from Carrie Burgess. How low can you go?
Did you hear about the chicken? The Israeli side of the gate in Gaza.
All right. She's speaking really quietly here. I'm sorry. She says, "Did you hear about the chicken?"
Did you hear about the chicken? The Israeli side of the gate in Gaza, where they're blocking all the aid. They kindly and generously made an exception and allowed for chicken to get in. And the first thing that happened was that that chicken was on the market, overpriced, of course. And some people bought the chicken, cooked the chicken, and ate the chicken and died because the chicken had been poisoned by the occupation prior to them letting the chicken get into Gaza. So they are poisoning any food that they might let in because they can't cease to come up with genocidal ways to exist because they have the right to exist.
I mean, when you've been starving people for over a year and you give them chicken, you're gonna devour that shit.
Hell yeah.
So poisoning it,
That's fucked up, man.
they love seeing them suffer. And the more innocent they are, the more they love it.
It's sick, but true. I didn't know about the poison chicken thing. That's really shitty.
I just saw it today, yeah. It's disgusting.
It's like
Well,
added
it's like,
to the list.
remember like 2 weeks ago or something, I'm not sure if it was a show I did with you, but I reported on they brought a refugee camp some fresh fruits and vegetables, and then they literally blew the tent up before they got to eat it. So they got like super excited. They got their plate of fruits and vegetables. They go to sit down, maybe have a bite or two, and then bye. They're that psychopathic that they just want to see them suffer, as they are literally serial killers. That's what they are. It's a serial killer. They keep notches on their belts. You know, they're like, oh, did 4 more today. All right. God. Well, after all the things we talked about, I am glad to say we will be doing our funny right now.
All right. I think I've seen this. This is the best drone response suggestion I've ever seen.
Sit down and shut up. We got work to do. I've got our plans together. If the North's not going to take care of business, and we sure as hell know the government's not, we're going to have to take matters into our own hands. So listen up, listen close. Oklahoma, you're kicking us off. Get those radars ready and get your storm chasers mobile. If it's in the sky, you're going to see it before any of us. Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, and the Virginias, you're on recon. With mountain men and backwoods know-how, you'll spot the drones before they see us, and you can help us track them. Now, Texas, you're our heavy firepower. But please don't try to barbecue it afterward. Louisiana and Mississippi, you're on the ground. Swap tactics and gator stealth. Just give them the works. And when this is over, you're in charge of telling our legacy. But do us a favor and keep it brief. We don't have all day. Alabama and Tennessee, you're on diversion duty. Between football rivalries and banjos, you'll confuse the hell out of those drones and keep morale through the roof. Now, Georgia and South Carolina, you're running the mess hall. Sweet tea, fried chicken, shrimp, grits, you're feeding the troops and keeping them sharp. New Mexico, you're our wild card with desert camouflage and Area 51 know-how. If this is alien tech, we're counting on you to handle it. And now, Florida, you're the backup. If things go sideways, we're calling on y'all. If these drones are aliens, let's be honest, you've probably seen worse at the local gas station, so it shouldn't faze you. Just take care of business. All right, folks, that's it. The South has handled worse with less, and I'll be damned if we don't have this handled by supper.
Nice.
I was
Well, we
like,
gotta-
wow, this guy's going to be hardcore Trump or something. And then I was so delighted when I heard that he was actually funny.
Have you
So
heard
thank-
any new drone news? Is that still going on?
No, oh, it's still going on.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you this because it's been going on for like 2 weeks, but a lot of you guys know I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, and we have this place called Lancaster, which is Amish country, and there's drones above them, and they have like buggies and stuff, like horse and buggies. They don't have electronics. So I keep thinking about how fucking scary it would be to just have literally nothing but a field and then see these things overhead and not know anything. Like not even know it's happening other places. And like that is so fucking terrifying.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, they've been in my city and the surrounding cities as well. My
Good.
husband saw one at work the other night. I haven't seen any, so.
Me neither.
But dun, dun, dun. I will see one day. I'm telling
You got to look if you want to see them.
Well, I mean, my blindness probably doesn't help. Maybe
Sorry.
there have been like 5 right overhead of me, and I'm like, I haven't seen one yet.
They're in the room
What if
with
there's
you.
one like 2 feet from my head, and I
It's
could like
behind you.
expose, like I could freaking dissect it and expose it and be this world hero, but I don't know it's there. That would suck. I never thought about that. Now I'm sad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You guys catch the show tomorrow night, 9:00. Josh is a little under the weather, but he said he should be good to go tomorrow night. So 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much to James Lee for joining, and thank you, of course, to Matt for joining as well.
My pleasure.
Don't forget to smash the like, smash subscribe. And if you do have a few extra bucks, my Buy Me a Coffee, if you just go to Buy Me a Coffee, Joy Marie Mann. Did you just put that up there?
Yeah.
Damn, you're good. It will go to my trip on next Wednesday. I'm flying out to Michigan to interview Temujin at the prison. I'm so excited, but any donations will go to my hotel and plane fare and all of that stuff. But yes,
Very
I can't
exciting.
wait to see him. I know.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I get 4 hours with him. So, but working with the prison has been fucking insane. Like they need you to tell them everything you're bringing down to a pen and paper. They're like, will you have a folder too? I'm like, yes. They're like, what kind? I'm like, manila. And they're like, does it have pockets? And I'm like, no. Like everything. I'm just like, what the fuck am I gonna do with a folder? Like, give the guard a paper cut? I don't fucking know. Like, it's just so weird. It's like he's been in prison almost 4 decades with like a perfect record. So I'm pretty sure you can, and especially because I'm going in as a journalist, why wouldn't I have like a pen and paper and shit? I don't really know.
It's weird.
Okay. But anyway, smash the like and subscribe. Tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Much love, everyone. You guys are the freaking best. Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
night. Adios, everyone.
Adios.